Warning: the following gameplay is from an account with no SHD or expertise levels or any of the other usual in-game nice-to-haves. In spite of those limitations, this is the power of the Division 2's new fully automatic pistol on heroic difficulty. Some may find this content disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good work. Go on and head back up.
Hey everyone, RogueGold here, welcome back to the Division 2. I hope you like that little intro there. But today we need to talk about the Division 2's new, first ever fully automatic pistol, the Tempest Exotic. Now this is available for testing right now on the Year 7 Season 2 public test server, and after trying this out, I think that a lot of people in the community have got this thing wrong. I'll explain what I mean, we'll break it all down, but needless to say, I'm having an absolute blast with this pistol. It is by far my favorite gameplay item that they're adding in this next season, so let's get to this. If you end up enjoying the video and you want to catch all of my future coverage on the Division 2, then be sure to click that subscribe button if you're not already. I have to take a moment to shout out and say thank you to our channel members. Your continuous support is beyond appreciated. Thank you so much. But without further ado, let's get into this. Alright, so this is the Tempest. If you're curious, we're going to be able to unlock it via the Year 7 Season 2 Climax mission, so we are going to have to wait 2 or so months after the season launches to start using it. Now, because I'm going to be complimenting it most of the rest of the video, let's start off with one of, if not its weakest aspect, and I think that is the visuals. Now, don't get me wrong, it doesn't look inherently bad, but I wouldn't say this comes across as necessarily exotic in its look. In general, the art team has been doing a great job with exotic designs in the past several seasons, so I just wish this had a bit more flair to it. Maybe they're planning some kind of cool exotic skin though, we'll see. But let's move on to what you all care about, which is the stats. As mentioned, this is the first ever fully automatic pistol in the Division 2. To back that up, it comes with an RPM of 700 and a 30 round magazine. Its mods are pretty solid. You have a 50% stability magazine, which is very useful in terms of, again, firing this at full auto. And then there's a 15% crit chance muzzle, which, you know, it's debatable how valuable that is when you only have 2 mods in total, but still, this isn't bad. And then we get to the talent, which is called Restrained. It says deal 25% amplified damage for 20 seconds after your shield gets broken. Now, even though people have been asking for a full auto pistol in the game for years, this talent is what is getting a lot of people caught up. Because while 25% amplified damage is really good, the interaction of waiting for your shield to break to get that feels counterintuitive for many. And I don't think that that's an unfair take. Ideally, you would want to use your pistol with a shield. Not to mention the disorientation effect that happens when your shield breaks. If you're waiting or trying to get that to happen, that increases your risk of dying. It also makes it quite likely that you will have to retreat and heal, which then minimizes the time that you can actually take advantage of the Tempest's talent. Here is my argument, however, and why I say that the community is wrong about this gun. I think that this is actually the point. Now, in general, the expectation is that an exotic's talent will be unique, it'll be powerful, it will define the item's playstyle, but sometimes it is the item itself that defines the exotic, and I think that is the case here with the Tempest. Think back to the Ouroboros, right? The SMG that we got with the Paradise Lost incursion. When that thing came around, everybody said that its talent was worthless, even though I think it still had some kind of cool use cases. In general, people were saying that because the talent was bad, they weren't going to use it, but then we got our hands on it, and because of just how good its stats were, that gun saw widespread usage in both PvE and PvP, and that persisted for quite a while until we saw it get nerfed a few seasons back. So what I'm getting at here is that from the time I've spent with the Tempest in the PTS, this gun's stats are incredible. I could probably count on one hand the number of times I've actually triggered its talent, and yet I'm still laying NPCs out. If you've been out of the loop, pistols can be very strong, and they tend to offer pretty easy build stat pathways, and so to make this Tempest exotic full auto to give it a decent mag size, good RPM, it really just offers a platform to create some really wild builds. Now, let's be clear, is this going to out DPS a dedicated AR, SMG, LMG build? Of course it's not. But you can't ignore the fact that because it's a pistol, you get to hide behind a bulwark shield while you use it, and that changes the gameplay dynamic entirely. And so I think that the dev's decision to give this a talent that you're likely not going to trigger very frequently was very intentional. And so when I've seen people saying the talent on this is bad and no one's going to use the gun, I completely disagree. In the gameplay you're seeing here, I've paired it with Striker for that extra rate of fire and handling, and then I just added in some extra perks that I had available. Stuff like the Punch Drunk, I put Spotter on my chest piece, and yeah, as you can see, the damage is really good. And as I jokingly mentioned in the intro, all of this gameplay is with no SHD levels, no expertise. I can't even use Gunner, which is likely what I would use on this in the live game. So imagine what you're seeing here, plus at least 40% damage, extra crit, everything. Yeah, it's going to be pretty wild. Now, I've seen people suggesting that they should go in and change the talent to something like receive the 25% amplified damage whenever you deploy your shield. And when I hear that, I'm just like, do we not remember what happened when the InSync talent worked with shields? If Massive wants the next season to just be everybody waddling around with a bulwark shield because the Tempest is now best in slot, then sure, go for it. But again, I do really think that the decision to make the talent on this more niche was purposeful. Now, that being said, that still doesn't mean that the talent on this is necessarily fun. I would say pretty largely across the PvE community, people really dislike the shield disorientation upon breaking, and they will go to pretty extreme measures to avoid that as much as possible. And so one suggestion I've seen is that they could modify the restrained talent so that it also removes that disorientation effect. That could definitely work, but it really got me thinking, is there a way to give the Tempest a more usable and fun talent without just automatically making the thing overpowered? I did come up with one idea. I would love to hear any that you all might have down below, but what if they ditched the amplified damage idea entirely and leaned more into buffing up the gun's inherent stats? For instance, what about when your shield is depleted to half health, you gain 10% rate of fire and 40% reload speed for 10 seconds, and then that has a 20-second cooldown. In the case of something like that, it takes a bit of the edge off the talent by removing the amp damage, but in turn, that then allows the talent to be procced more frequently. It still goes and promotes that pretty high risk, high reward gameplay, but without making players go through the unfun interaction of having their shield break. And in theory, at least, if you're taking a lot of heat, you're soaking all those bullets, suddenly you then get this boost to fight back, faster firing, snappier reloads. I think the Tempest is already really fun to handle and shoot. That's part of why I'm so addicted to using it in this PTS. And so, in my mind, a talent like that would go a long ways in making this gun even more fun. But my friends, I believe that is about all I have to say and show you all for this new Tempest exotic. I knew that I had to make a video on this thing before the PTS concluded. Like I said, it's risen above basically everything else that they've introduced here to be my favorite item to use. However, they may or may not change it heading towards its release. I cannot wait to use this thing on the live game. That wait for the climax mission is going to be brutal. At this point though, I would love to hear all of your guys' thoughts. Whether you have jumped into the PTS yourself and tried out the Tempest, whether you've just watched my coverage or other people's gameplay with it, what do you think? Do you agree with my analysis of its talent? Maybe you think it should just get buffed outright? Whatever you've got, let me know down below. I'll be very curious to read through it. That is just about going to do it for me on this one though, folks. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll catch you back soon. RogueGold out.